مرحبا آمنة.
هلا مرحبتين.
شو أخبارك؟
الحمد لله الله يسلمك.
I'm very excited to moderate this podcast with you in SEF during all the vibes. You've seen it down, the energy and so on. So I'm stealing you before your session and maybe some scoop with me before your session.
Perfect.
But I'm really excited about the conversation and the questions we discussed it and so on. So Amna, you were a chef before starting Mets and Treize.
Correct.
Tell me about the journey of becoming a chef and how did you decide that? And I know you also had home business.
Yes.
So where is the chef between that journey of home or establishing the business?
يعني you will get a lot of people who will speak to you and tell you, oh, I had this passion of cooking since I was a child and I loved it forever and my mom couldn't take me out of the kitchen and all of that. But I'm not that person. I'm definitely not that person. I never saw the kitchen being part of my future, let alone being part of my identity, to be honest. So I graduated as a graphic designer from university.
Oh, wow.
I do have an artistic, creative background. But when I came to work, I worked in research. And research was a little bit tough and tedious for me. So after spending 7 years doing that, I decided to quit. And by that time, I already had 3 kids.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So I thought, okay, I have 3 kids. I'll focus on my home. I'll focus on my family. And, I'll have my hands full. I was very wrong. I became very bored. You know, when you have a brain that is very, that's always working.
And active,
you have to stimulate it.
Yeah.
And just, I'm not saying that working at home or being a stay-at-home mom is not stimulating. It is, but not for me.
Yeah.
I came from a very creative background. I needed something different. I needed a challenge. So, honestly, I owe it to boredom. And just this search of stimulation that I discovered cooking, and I never thought that it will stay with me. I usually get bored very quickly. And this is where I started dabbling a little bit with cooking or with pastries and cakes and cookies. And, it was trending at that time during 2014.
Okay.
When I saw that I was experimenting a lot and I had so much... so many cookies at home and so much extra cakes. What should I do with them? Sell them. Correct?
Yeah.
So I said, okay, let me make a very small business online through Instagram. And I'll call it any name. Let me just come up with a name. I'm a graphic designer. I can make a logo. So I just called it Mets and Treize.
Nice.
Yes, just like that. Because these are the things that we use for baking. A tray and a mitt.
Cute.
Yeah. And it started from there, honestly, as a home business. Still, I did not venture through the professional training of being a pastry chef. When I found that my cookies and cakes were not very consistent, I decided to study and research.
Okay.
Then I saw that International Center for Culinary Arts was available, and I saw that they have a nice pastry course of 1 year. So I enrolled, and my husband was very supportive. He's like, okay, I'll take care of the kids, you go.
Amazing.
Yeah, and this is where I started pastry. I studied there for 1 year, pastry. And still, I did not have my outlet yet. I was still working from home. Then my husband was the one who encouraged me to open in City Walk. And after that, I entered another school while pregnant with my 4th child and studied hot kitchen. So I have a background in pastry and hot kitchen.
Amazing. MashaAllah.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
What a journey.
Yeah,
I'm really excited about it. And it really, if it shows anything, it's so you don't get bored after all. You just, before that, maybe you never found your true passion.
Correct. Yeah, that's why I always feel that I'm very, very, very lucky.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. And I think this is a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of times when they ask about this and they ask, what should I go into? Like I always tell them, find your passion. Because anything else, you get bored of it very quickly.
Correct.
And like you said, mashallah, the moment that you found your passion into pastry and cooking, you stuck with it so long. How long has it been since you started baking at home?
Almost 8 years.
Mashallah.
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah.
So during that time, mashallah, you started Mets and Treize in City Walk at what year?
2016.
Amazing. Since that time, I've obviously heard about your restaurant a million times. Our common friend, Aida, took me there a million times. Everyone was raving about it. COVID happens. Mm-hmm. What happened to Mets and Treize?
I think COVID hit us all, not only our businesses, but also us as individuals. It was devastating and heartbreaking at the same time. I had a 1.5-year-old daughter who wasn't able to see her people first of all, and second of all, we all wore masks, so speech was very limited,
difficult as well.
and difficult. So I was dealing with my daughter on a personal level, and at the same time I had a business that I didn't know what will happen to. We had so many restrictions, especially the first 3 months. It was really bad, but we are honestly very lucky to be living in the UAE, because we were able to snap out of it faster than anyone else.
Alhamdulillah, true.
And the legislations that came out were very supportive of us as business owners, to be honest. I didn't work with the government sector. I always worked with developers and the private sector. But also, this showed a beautiful, you can say a beautiful combination of working together between government and private in order to make sure that these businesses still thrive, not only survive but thrive. So alhamdulillah, I did not reach to an extent where I had to fire anyone. Alhamdulillah.
Okay.
So I kept my team, and this was very good for me. We had to make some cuts, of course, in terms of salaries and in terms of ingredients and all of that. You know, with COVID, also shipments stopped.
صح.
Yes. True. So we were very limited, but this was we were lucky in a way, because in that way we were able to find local vendors. Yes. So it was negative, but I like to always see the positive side of it.
Absolutely. And it's like, it's interesting because when you're saying like the government and private all combined together, it's really to support the economy after all, because when those small businesses don't thrive, the economy gets affected. And mashallah, you've said, and not only did you, because of the delayed shipments from outside, you end up actually using the local providers, and then even encouraging more the economy within. So such a beautiful story. Alhamdulillah. Has it pushed people to order more online? Well, what was the rate? Did it not get affected at your side?
It did. Of course, it got affected. So we had to become creative, and we had to think outside the box. What should we do in order for us to get those sales up again? Because at the end of the day, we still have rent. At the end of the day, we still have salaries to pay, and this is not a charity in the end. I want to make profit.
Of course.
And I'm not opening it in somewhere that's not expensive. It was in City Walk, so the rent was really high.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you remember, during that time, they opened a platform called Clubhouse.
Okay. Yes, I remember it. Yes, the audio one. Yes.
So for me, Clubhouse was a blessing.
Interesting.
Because during Clubhouse, I met a few entrepreneurs, and we got to talk to each other. I'm an introvert.
Amazing.
I have to say this.
Same. Trust me.
We have Aida in common. Aida is the extrovert.
The one who gets it out of our bubble.
Yes. So for me, staying at home and just listening to the way they think and the way they are solving their problems, it got me inspired as well. So I met a few entrepreneurs, and I met a few content creators, and they inspired me to create something called Lemma Box. During that time, Ramadan was coming. It was يعني خلاص we're over COVID almost, and Ramadan came in. Before Ramadan, we created something called Lemma Box to increase our online sales. Lemma Box is basically a box that you would order from our platform through chat food on Instagram, and it has different items from our menu and new items that you can serve in gatherings. That's why we called it Lemma Box.
Beautiful.
And we created a campaign for it. This was a gamble. I never did campaigns. I never did these things. I always depended on, my customers and loyal customers and my decor and, the wittiness of my staff and all of that, and the quality of food. But now, no, I have none of these. I have
in the absence of it all, you had to get out of your style.
I had to. So that's why the campaign was a nice experiment for me, and it worked very well. Alhamdulillah.
Amazing. Alhamdulillah.
And we still
You still have it?
Of course. This is our 4th year.
Interesting. And does it always get more in Ramadan, or you only have it in Ramadan?
It's only in Ramadan.
Okay.
And we decided to keep it only in Ramadan.
Okay. That makes a lot of more sense, because that's when all the gatherings happen.
Yes, exactly.
So 6 years in, actually before we're talking about that, we were talking about the ratios of online versus dine-in. And a lot of restaurants say that their online is more than their dine-in. But mashallah, you told me it's the opposite.
Definitely.
And I know why, but I want you to tell us why.
I think there are a few factors. We focused a lot on the ambience of the place, and we try to focus also on the quality of service that we are providing. I am there as well.
Of course.
Yeah, so I am there in the kitchen, working behind the line, or sometimes in front of the line with the front of house team. So people want this. People want this interaction, especially after COVID. We really missed it, and we started appreciating it more.
Absolutely.
So I believe that's the reason.
Yeah. And I really believe in it. It's like, I think I was talking with someone during SEF as well yesterday, and we were talking about the rise of restaurants and so on. And we were saying how the ones that really succeed and sustain and stay are the ones that have a human element, and where the founders are really hands-on on the business, and you see them part of the brand, as opposed to just it's a slapping a brand name and not being around. So
absolutely,
you really
absolutely.
embody that.
I also try to always involve my kids and involve the entire family. So at some point during before COVID, actually. We started every Saturday, the kids would come and they would be the servers, and they would have their name tags, and they would have their uniforms. And it not only helped me make sure that they're in front of me and I know what they're doing, but it also...
Smart though.
Yeah, it also boosted their confidence.
Amazing, mashallah.
And they're begging me now, Mama, when are we going to go back to work to Mits and Treez? And also their cousins are becoming jealous.
Nice.
Let's go and work.
See, this is the beginning and cusp of family business.
Yes. We missed this, right? We missed this. We need a family-oriented business. You see it.
Absolutely.
You see it in Italy. You see it in the US.
Spain and so on.
But you rarely see it here. Now it's picking up, I think.
Amazing. Yeah, I've noticed it around. I really love the idea. It's beautiful. 6 years in City Walk, you bid farewell to the place, and you already had Blue Water.
Correct.
But you also expanded into Dubai Hills.
Yes.
Two locations that are very different in terms of demographic. Tell me about that.
First of all, it was for me it was a risk going out of Miras and to another developer. I'm a person who likes to stick.
Consistency.
Yeah, consistency. خلاص, I know Miras, I know everyone there, I want to stay with them.
Yeah.
But I moved from there to أعمال because I always believe in locations. When we chose our location in where is it called? In City Walk. Hey. I made sure that the location is very convenient for everyone. Anyone who's going to park outside and anyone who's going to park inside. So if you remember, City Walk, you go out of the escalator,
directly
is on your left. So this is the first place you would look at.
Yeah, true.
فحتى if you don't have a place to go to, خلاص, I know there's a restaurant over there.
Absolutely.
We wanted to do the same thing with Dubai Hills as well. I was lucky. I found a location very similar. So I'm like, this is a sign. You go out of the escalator, it's on your left. This is a sign.
That's it. And that's your signature.
Yes, of course. But also there were other factors that encouraged me to work with أعمال. They are also very consistent. And during COVID also, they were very strong. One of the strongest developers that we have.
Yeah.
So I also got a good offer during that time because I booked the space way before the mall was finished.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay.
So I was very happy. In terms of demographics, very different from Blue Waters, very different from City Walk. Extremely different. Blue Waters is more foreigners. Dubai Hills is a mix, and you've got more Arabs there as well. Alhamdulillah, my menu can accommodate all of them. But when I find that a certain place like Blue Waters, for example, they are more meat eaters and they ask for meat, I start increasing my meat specialties over there.
Interesting.
But
so it's different menus?
No, it's the same menu, but the specialties might differ.
Interesting.
Yes. In Dubai Hills, because we have a more diverse clientele, so we have those months where we have our Asian month or our Indian month.
Nice.
Now, yes, Arabic month. So it's different than Blue Waters.
That's genius. I love it because you really, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you have to know where your audience is. Just because it's the same brand across does not mean you repeat it.
And when you do your plan at the beginning, I remember when I did my plan for Mits and Treez, I thought, okay, I will have my audience are all going to be local. And I'm going to make my menu especially for locals. But this turned out to be incorrect.
Completely not the reality.
Yes. So whatever you write on paper or whatever you aim for might not be correct. So you have to adapt to your actual audience. You have to adapt to your actual clientele.
Absolutely.
That's why you have to be there, present, and working on spot if you want a sustainable, long-lasting business.
I agree with you. I agree with you. And like you said, like we can put so many plans, but when reality hits the ground, you have to know what's around you. You have to adapt. Yes, 100%. Which brings us to the third branch, but not branch, right?
Yes.
The new concept that you've built, and it's in Mirdif. Complete new brand. So you didn't create a new brand. No, it's a complete different brand.
Yes.
And it's a complete different demographic. Tell us about that risk taken that you've done on the adventure you've done there.
You know, as a chef, you always want to be creative. And when you have one restaurant, you're a little bit limited because خلاص, you have one identity. You have to stick with it. You can't go here and there and stray a lot. You would do these things that I spoke about, creating special menus and all of that, but you still want to experiment and explore more. So creating this new restaurant, it's called Another One. It's a Mediterranean restaurant. A little bit, it's casual, but a little bit upscale.
Yeah.
I decided to open it in a family-owned mall, which is very different from dealing
from the property
with
developers that you deal with.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, this was the challenge. Different kind of communication, different way of negotiation. This has its perks and this has its perks. This has its disadvantages and this has its disadvantages. But if you ask me what was more profitable for me, it was dealing with the big developers.
Interesting.
Now,
how so?
Because I learned, and maybe this sounds a little bit controversial, I learned that if you invest more in the correct place, your profit is going to be even more.
Interesting.
And
Makes
if you
sense.
invest less in a smaller place, your
profit automatically goes less.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's also the footfall that comes with the place.
Definitely.
Big developer guarantees kind of bigger footfall.
Dubai Hills Mall is considered to be a community mall.
But all that mall, mashallah. Wow.
But mashallah, yani, it's a huge
beautiful
mall.
mall.
Yeah, and everyone goes there. Everyone from everywhere. Yeah.
How do you manage? Because you said that part of what makes your brand successful is you being there. How do you stretch yourself thin between 3 different locations that are really across Dubai? How do you?
Barely.
Very accurate. So how do you manage it? Like, while burly, but still, I'm sure there is a method.
In that case, you cannot be a centralized person. You have to delegate. So you have to have, I, for example, have team members in my very small team who I can trust to be able to manage when I am not there.
Yeah.
So if I make a schedule for me, I say I go twice a week Dubai Hills, twice a week Another One, and then I have my central kitchen as well, where we have introduced our catering from there. So I also go there once a week. But I do have dedicated people who are there. For each of the places. Yes, and then I would go and ask them what's happening and what's going on. My husband is also there, mainly to eat. But
I mean, he has to give you feedback on stuff.
As long as he pays. As long as he pays.
Good point.
I'm the only one who does the tasting, the free tastings. He pays.
Yeah.
And also, don't forget, I am a mom. So also being present.
I was just going to say, when do you spend time with your family and yourself?
No, myself, forget it. No, I'm joking. I always have this time where I like to do my road trips alone. Yeah, and this might sound weird, but I like my long road trips alone to see the sunset, to see the sunrise even better. Sometimes I go cycling all by myself.
Amazing.
I need that.
That's your introverting time.
Yes.
I get it. So you told me 100%, like I can relate a million times. You told me something very interesting, that before COVID hits with a bit, you've opened a new franchise in Saudi Arabia with a partner and 2 locations.
Correct.
And that's right when COVID then hit. Tell me about the experience of partnering with someone with a franchise in a new location. Was the partner from the same background of F&B? Tell me about that experience.
Because I am very hands-on, so it was very difficult for me to open somewhere outside the country. And then again, when COVID hit, we weren't able to travel. So I was definitely in the dark. And as I said, we are very lucky here in the UAE. working with the SME. Everything is very easy and smooth, and
we bounced back pretty quickly.
I think we did. I think we did. يعني although our fellow Khaliji
neighbor countries,
they were able to bounce back, but I think we
took
did it
them
faster.
A bit longer.
Yes. So it was very difficult, very, very difficult, and very challenging, especially that my partner over there did not come from a food and beverage background. They came from, I think, construction background.
Okay.
So
complete different languages between both of
very,
you.
Very, very different. Very different.
Yeah.
And so communication was. Let me not say communication, let me say comprehension. Comprehension was difficult because I would say things, but they will not understand it. I would always tell them the importance of having an operation manager over there because he's the one who knows what's happening and he's the حلقة الوصل, as they say.
100%.
But they wouldn't get that. They would think of it from a financial point of view. Oh no, he is more costly.
Head.
Yeah, that he's most costly. I will get cheaper, like four cheaper laborers, runners, for example, then get a big
person
head
to overlook
yes.
them. Yeah.
So this was these were major issues that we had over there. So unfortunately, we weren't able to complete. But as I said, I'm the person who always likes to look at the positive sides. So I learned a lot. I understood that not everyone thinks like me, and not everyone would take me as a woman chef seriously. In the UAE, we're lucky we don't feel this at all.
Yeah.
We always feel that we are heard and we are appreciated and we're always, praised.
Interesting. And you did in Saudi Arabia at the time were at the beginning of the change.
Correct, at the beginning of the change. I still don't believe they reached,
okay,
but they are on the right path. I think they are on the right path.
Did they approach you, the partner in KSA? Or
no, they approached me.
They approached,
yes, definitely. They approached and they were very interested. But subhanAllah, because of COVID, they weren't able to complete.
What was your biggest learning point from that? Do you think that now, مثلا, when you're looking at it, it's not going to be only location and it's going to be a partner? You're looking more into what's the chemistry between you and the partner? Was that something you looked at before?
I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't consider it at all. I was looking at it from a growth point of view, and I was looking at it from the financial perspective. That's mainly it.
Okay.
I kind of lost. I kind of lost the feel of Treez during that time. But after going there, you understand your identity again. You start realizing, okay, no, this is not the path I want to go. I've done it. It's not me. I want to stick to my brand identity. This is a family-oriented restaurant. If I am unable to be there, I don't think I would do it. If as you said, if I'm not unable to find someone who I click with or from the same background, we communicate the same, I will not be able to franchise.
And I think حتى any business, the biggest struggle always finding the right co-partner.
Yes.
And co-founder with you.
Correct. Correct.
So you've obviously have a lot of great stories at the restaurant. Can you think of one story that you feel like you want to share with, I want to say, the perspective of people who maybe want to open restaurants? A story that you feel like until now, this taught you so much. I'm sure there's so many.
There are so many, but there are some moments that resonate with you. And I remember when I first opened, I was very excited and I was very confident about my place. And I thought, okay, this is a beautiful. Anyone who enters would tell me, "Is this a franchise? This is so beautiful." So I felt very good. This is homegrown, it's local, it's Emirati,
and it's beautiful.
Alhamdulillah, it was good. During that time, it was something new. I remember when we were doing the tasting and food bloggers, the idea of food bloggers were coming out. So I got these food bloggers and I sat with them and spoke with them and everything, and they tasted and I gave them the best dishes that we have, and I was so excited, very happy. After they tasted everything, they looked at me and they're like, everything is good, the decor is good, but the food is not memorable. It broke my heart. And this shows you how new I was to the business. It broke my heart. يمكن for a week I couldn't sleep because they said the food is not memorable.
Sorry.
No, this is is normal. People will always have opinions.
Interesting.
You have to have a strong spine and a backbone that will you should either be very confident about what you're serving or be able to adapt. In the end, these are customers. They will eat. They said it because they really liked it, or they said it because they just wanted to be critical. This is up to them. This is not for you to think about.
To take on.
Exactly. You just need to make sure that whatever you served was good. Are you going to tweak it to make it better, or are you going to just keep it and say, no, this is my dish, or you're going to crumble and cry?
Which is what you chose at the beginning. But what did you change because of that? Did you change anything, or are you stuck with it?
No, I didn't change anything.
Okay.
I stuck with it, and they turned out to be my best-selling dishes.
No way.
Yes, they turned out to be my best-selling dishes. Yes.
Amazing.
People sometimes they are just critical for the sake of being critical. Maybe they think it looks more professional if they say or indicate the bad things, or maybe it wasn't to their taste.
Yeah.
I kept it, definitely. But I also introduced items that I know are going to be liked by
to
most.
Stick with people.
Yes.
Yeah, I get you. And I think this brings us to a very point, which is a lot of times we take opinions from people around us, and different business owners and such will take those opinions differently. So some will take it as this is the de facto point. خلاص, I have to. This is the correct thing, and I have to work with it, and so on. And some, like you said, you will have to know if this is what you like. This isn't a matter of opinion. How do you know this is something that means you have to change, or no, this is just an opinion?
Before we go into this, you just mentioned people being also critical and criticized. We have some ideas, mafahim, that we always associate negatively, like being criticized, like being challenged, like being, for example, competitive, for instance. So when someone criticizes you, the first thing that you would get into your mind is that, okay, they are unhappy. That's why they're criticizing. In our field, you don't have the luxury of thinking that way.
Interesting.
If he's criticizing you, you have to be the positive person, and you have to, as I said, adapt. You have to change, or you have to stick with it. You will not know if a certain product is good or bad, regardless of people's opinion, until you give it enough time in the market.
Makes sense.
You always collect your statistics and always analyze them correctly. The amount of people that order, your sales, and Google reviews are also important, but these will be the most important identifications that you will need.
That
your
makes
numbers.
Sense.
Your numbers.
Absolutely makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I am very, I'm sad that the time has come to an end, but I really believe, Amna, you've shared so much insights for people who are interested to open at some point, inshallah, restaurants, people who are curious about restaurants and management and so on. And you have shared so much with us, and I know that in this session you're going to share even way more gems. So thank you so much, Amna, and I really enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.